welcome for the evening. Hallo, guten Abend. Bitte kommen Sie näher, wir haben noch ein paar Stühle. Please step a little bit closer. We have some free chairs available. Because we would like to start this outstanding and prestigious discussion soon.
Then you translate in German. Immediately.
Immediately.
Now, welcome in German, please. Welcome.
We need to prove the translation. Herzlich willkommen heute anlässlich des dritten Messetages. Wir freuen uns. It's a great pleasure that you are here, that you participate this outstanding discussion with Giulia Foscari on my right side and Carlotta.
Left.
From there is the right side.
And this is the Cartesian philosophy in German, always.
Correct.
They measure
May I
depending
introduce you, our President and CEO? No, let's start with the guest. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce to you today Giulia Foscari, an architect and curator and an activist. And may you allow me, the designer of one of our most prestigious and luminaires, which has the most interest on the first 3 days. Congratulations.
German people. And this is a synthesis of many values, of many issues, and of many contents that has put together Giulia with us. And we are Artemide. Thank you. You can start from this. I suggest to put together this one and this one. It's a great history.
So it's also a great pleasure for me to introduce to you Carlotta de Bevilacqua, architect.
You know, I'm a little bit shy, and this is my first
entrepreneur, President and CEO of Artemide Group, and as well an
and
activist.
Blue eyes.
And as well an activist. And it's a great pleasure that you all follow our invitation. And believe me, it will be a very interesting presentation, discussion, change of minds, transversal ideas will go around. And for sure, both protagonists will try to give you new thoughts about our vision, their vision of the world and light. Giulia, please.
Do you want me to, maybe?
Or Carlotta first.
So, now maybe because I'm super boring, so I can say something very shortly, and then Giulia, that she's super interesting, could. You know that an old lady needs always some notes. No, this year we have introduced, not this year, but we have synthesized, presenting the Artemide collection, a word that is dialogues. Dialogues is, in this moment, a word that carries many meanings. First of all, the dialogues among the worlds in this critical geopolitical situation. So we think that is very important to always support with energy and with a peaceful approach dialogues. The second is that the second is always inside the matter of learning from the other. Never think that we are the owner of the knowledge, the owner of the, we can say, the right direction toward the future. So listening from the other and interact. I come to your project. So this is the meaning. I have a lot of things, but if not, I'm boring, so I stop. And then I come back, we interact, because I would like to speak about Ernesto Gismondi later on. But the dialogue is very interesting for us with Giulia, because first of all, the history of Artemide was always involved in dialogues with architects that are responsible to build up spaces for the present life and for future life in every dimension, in every latitude and longitude. So light is a matter of speaking with who is designing spaces for the humanity. And in this case, I met Giulia, I don't say, no, we can say, but it's not a secret. I met Giulia in an island. An island is something special because it has a border. Anyway, I met Giulia. Giulia is fantastic and she has a vision. She's teaching everywhere. She's merging several cultures and she's very sensitive because comes from a part of her family from Venice, the heritage of many traditions, including the glass blowing, but she's super advanced in discovering new dimension for our life in extreme territory as well. So this synthesis is fantastic and we are really proud to have the cooperation, the friendship, and the intelligence and the talent of Giulia Foscari.
Thank you, Carlotta. Thank you very much. It's a shared honor for the friendship and the collaboration, so it's wonderful to be here. Guten Abend, ich spreche auch ein bisschen Deutsch, aber ich werde heute Englisch reden. I had to prove to Carlotta that I could say a sentence.
This is the problem. So I suggest to Giulia to say a sentence in German and the other in English. So it's a little bit interesting as harmony.
Exactly. So I have just a very few slides to describe a little bit the project or the genesis of the project that we are presenting tonight, that is Cryosfera. I will speak also slower. And the collaboration actually started with Artemide, with Una and Less, which is our interdisciplinary practice. I will not dwell a lot, but I think it's interesting to say that Una is an architectural office, and we work mainly on cultural projects, preservation projects, museum foundations, whilst Unless, its alter ego, is an agency for change. So it's a non-profit organization born here in Germany. It's a GmbH, with which we started and commenced this project of research on Antarctica, which I will now describe a little bit further. So when invited to collaborate, we thought of focusing on two aspects at the two different scales at which we operate, that of the building, through a project that we'll not talk about tonight, which is L'Angolo, a corner, and Cryosfera, which is a neglected continent that we have, our seventh continent, which is Antarctica. So why cryosphere? Why is that important? You will have all heard and seen, I suppose, in the past COPs, for example, Antonio Gutierrez talk about the importance of climate change, talk about importance also of Antarctica and the cryosphere for the global ecosystem. We all know we live in a time of climate crises with droughts, floodings, fires, wildfires. And as architects, i.e. working in an industry which is responsible for 40% of the global emissions, I think we have to have the responsibility of also try to contribute to the conversation at the very least, of understanding how we could collectively reduce our footprint. And in this sense, the cryosphere is really something we should be looking at, because that alone can increase the sea level and erase communities and coastal communities around the world. What perhaps is less known is that Antarctica, which covers 10% of the landmass of the planet Earth, also accounts for 90% of its ice. And if this ice should all melt, which is not foreseen, but still predictions do foresee the melting or the thinning of a great part of Antarctica. But if it should all melt, the increase of sea levels will be of 60 meters. And the melting of glaciers, such as a Thwaites Glacier alone, could bring an increase of sea level of 3 meters. So it is really vital to understand that we have to shift our attention south. We have to look at global commons, such as the ocean, but also the Arctic and Antarctic. And we cannot neglect this continent, which belongs to all of us. And therefore, we are its constituency. We are the only ones who can speak up for it, because it has no local inhabitants. So with Unless, we decided to start a research project. We went to Antarctica, did an expedition, and then invited the 150 world-leading experts on the continent to contribute to a publication, which is standing here, this small book of 1,000 pages. I can't lift it with one hand, because it's my left. I'm not that strong on the left. And they have, experts from the fields of geopolitics, science, architecture, inhabitation, to contribute to a publication which in the meantime has become a reference book on Antarctica because there was a knowledge gap in the subject. Many specialists, but working in isolation and not really collaborating as a platform. The publication was then also translated into open access, believing thoroughly in the importance of the democratization of data and the sharing of knowledge. Especially in this case, we also were very proud to win the European Starts Award for this project. But also we then tried to present it in different media, in different sites. So in cultural venues, this is the Venice Biennale, where we collaborated also with artists and architects and scientists for the installation, and many other venues discussing the importance of the cryosphere and of Antarctica in different fora. Academic fora, this is University of Toronto, political fora. We also had the opportunity recently to discuss it with the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and in any other, and some other events which saw the involvement of the European Commission. We also realized that we have to speak beyond cultural realms. So in Berlin, 2 years ago, there was the Antarctic Treaty Consultative Meeting, which is a yearly meeting in which all decisions on Antarctica governance are taken. We decided to take over the city. So we did a campaign in the city for a whole 10 days during the Antarctic Treaty in the streets, where we did a petition. We collected a quarter of a million of signatures, and also did a rally at the Brandenburg Gate. Here I was trying to speak under the gate myself with a bit of Ich bin Berliner. And really trying to create a constituency for a continent which does not have a population of its own. And now we come to understanding that Antarctica does not only represent a menace, a threat to all the coastal communities, but it's also the largest planetary archive. It contains the data that we so desperately need to inform the environmental policies, which hopefully will, take us away from the highway to climate hell, to quote again Gutierrez, and allow us to reach the 1.5 or the 2 degrees centigrade targets. And this data is contained in ice. Ice which is drilled. You can see here an image of a drilling in Antarctica, and which is condensed in what is called ice cores. That they are cylinders of ice which contain captive air bubbles, which in turn contain the data of the trends of CO2 and temperatures and other green gases in the past 800,000 years. And so what becomes evident if you analyze it is that only since the Industrial Revolution have we experienced this peak in CO2 emissions. And these are the facts that politicians need to prove their thesis, especially in the period we're living of fake news and the political and geopolitical instability that you cited and the Polish crisis we're in. And really an understanding of what has happened, and this has never happened in past geological and interglacial eras before. And this datum is, again, something really important to this project, and that's the only reason I'm dwelling on it, because in 2024, we recorded 242 parts per million of CO2. And this data is legible in the ice. And so here's the connection to this project, which I'm immensely grateful to Carlotta, to Carolina, and to all the Artemide team for having had the opportunity to try to translate what was ice into a lamp. a light that can shed light, that can put in the spotlight the importance of the cryosphere, and actually is really conceived as a call to action and not only as a element which can enlighten our lives, which can be and live with us in the space. And you will see here, 422, you see it again on the element of which is supporting the ice core, which is embedded and imbued into the cryosphere. So the idea is really to understand this as an ice core. So ice cores have a diameter of approximately 10 centimeters, truly. No, I can hold it, it's okay, yes, thank you. No, thank you. Thank you to both, but I can hold it. This is lighter than the book. And the ice core themselves are a stratification of time and of data. They are layered in millions of years, and each of these layers, to each of them corresponds the CO2 levels and temperatures and of the area. So in some cases in the ice, you can even find black lines, which are the connotation of wars, because there was more lead in the air, in the atmosphere, or eruptions of volcanoes, for example. They really are a stratification. And what is quite incredible with this project is that Artemide, and through the collaboration with the incredible team, we were all able to somehow translate the ice core, the stratification of ice in this object, and which then lights and is enlightened, if you wish. And I will then leave Carlotta maybe describe all the technicalities that go into this, or the team. But it's quite remarkable, because what I really love about this project is that it's not only trying to metaphorically translate light, but it also learns from Antarctica in the way light is refracted. Because Antarctica is a continent which is in the dark for 6 months a year, and in the light for 6 months a year, which is also something to consider in this context.
Not only in Antarctica,
also in the Arctic, yes, as the poles. But when the light hits, there's very often a phenomenon called whiteout, which means that the light is hitting the ice and the snow refracts. And so it somehow allows the light to be amplified. And within this system, within this light, there are 3 layers. Please correct me if I'm wrong. There's as somebody who should be talking about the technicalities rather than me in the audience. There are the lights in the core of this lamp. Then there is an element which has somehow a lenticular system which allows refraction of light, and which allows it also an even distribution throughout the core. And finally a layer, and here it's true the tradition of Venice and glass blowing comes back into the project, which is glass blown, and which allows for these deformations and for each of these lamps to be unique, but also to somehow dialogue and deform the light and the core of this ice core, so to speak, through the artisan art of glass blowing. So it really is a synthesis, as Carlotta was saying, which aims and hopes to translate the values, the importance of the cryosphere for our future, for the future of our planet, into a light.
Now, into many, the future of cryosphere, for sure. Thank you. An applauso. Yes, but also, as we said before, there is really 3, like a synthesis of, starting from all, you have a synthesis of 3 deep knowledges and deep contents. Because, of course, we are facing the energy, but we are facing, as I said, how the energy could provide this synthesis, the glass, the optical, and the inner part. And this is linked, sorry, I have some problem with my, no, nothing. And the synthesis is that could grow, could fit really the depth of Antarctica. So this is fantastic, because it's not something that goes only in the air. but is a great metaphor of knowing better our Earth. I understand from our Earth, from the temperature, from, as you said, the measure, and the measure of everything is so important to learn and to design and upgrade the knowledge. So, to me, it's always emotion when I see this. So, but can I kiss you? Thank you to Giulia, and if you have questions, please welcome. No, grazie a te. And is come si dice, ce n'est qu'un début, continuez les combats.
That for sure.
That for sure.
Giulia, maybe you allow me to take a question, maybe representing for us all. You make a report, you said that this amazing book is made from 150 authors?
Yes.
How you managed that?
Well, it was it was a slightly crazy project, I have to admit. But it was the eve of the 200th anniversary of the first sighting of Antarctica, or at least of the first recorded sighting of Antarctica, which was in 1820, and the first landing on the continent, which was 1821. So it was just prior to the 200 anniversaries. And as an architect, I realized that we knew far too little of a continent, and we knew almost nothing about inhabitation in such an extreme environment. And so we started a research. I was teaching at the Architectural Association at the time, and I launched the Polar Lab, inviting students to do research initially on architecture and infrastructure. But I soon realized it was so paramount to understand the geopolitical dimension of Antarctica, because we're now talking at it from a very particular perspective. And you could still imagine that it's a pristine ice sheet full of penguins and untouched, but instead it's a very contested territory. It's a geopolitical arena. It risks to become the new Far West if we're not very, very careful about the governance model and the policies. And so I started inviting experts on geopolitics, understanding that our presence there is only justified through the need of doing science. So I started inviting scientists, and so the project became intrinsically transdisciplinary. And that's also what led to then founding Unless, to be able to have a platform which could create a network. And the word Unless for us is really important, because it actually comes from a cartoon of the Lorax. I have kids, and I was watching the Lorax. And this little creature, which is supposedly has to protect the environment, says, unless somebody cares an awful lot, nothing is going to change, it's just not. And so this Unless became for us the term that guided this colossal project. But the beauty of it, it's really a collaborative effort. So yes, I was crazy enough to edit it, but it really is the result of a very, very close collaboration.
It's very impressive. How long it takes?
It took 2 years.
2 years.
2 years. Yeah.
Carlotta?
Carlotta has to say that we are planning I want to go to Antarctic by boat from, come si chiama?
Ushuaia or Punta Arenas,
okay,
to South America.
And so if you want, we can follow us. And we stay, because Giulia said to me that when you arrive there, you have to stay in a small house, I was going to say small, and if you exit, maximum 5 minutes, because...
In the winter, yeah.
But during the trip, we can design many things for the future.
Definitely.
And this is a matter of the importance of time.
Carlotta, what would be your advice to us for such an important project for human being?
Sorry, I have problems with... No, I think that this fantastic project land in a... is landing in an industrial approach that is normal, that is Artemide. So we will be produced and will be delivered in order to light many spaces in a transversal way. First of all, could be applied because it's compliant with all the normatives, so could be applied in offices, in residential, in this and that. Second one could be, the idea is also from, it's like the first step, the first idiom, could build up an alphabet. So could be collected, could be applied in every dimension of the space, because it's so universal that, like many other products that we have, that the light will provide to support, provides to support the space horizontal. Sorry, I'm landing a little bit lower in terms of, we are here. It's not my normal, but I try to feed the sales spirit. And horizontal, vertical, starting from ceiling, from the floor, from the wall, and so it's really, it's true that comes from the ground of, and from the highest ground, but then discover the space, and so it's like, no, it's fantastic. But the talent of Artemide is always to match this kind of performance. So it's, you can apply in every position, in every distance, in every dimension of spaces, and in every human belonging of spaces. Means residential, means offices, means in Antarctica, means everywhere. So, and I would like to remind the synthesis of the knowledge of the past that Artemide support, because blowing the wind, blowing the glass is something that is human, is every breath you take, and is important, and in the same time discovering the future through the energy of light, and managing, and managing is not the right word, but I say managing and controlling the light performance is a matter of sustainability, and it's a great lesson to save our energy and to improve the perception and the role of light in our life.
Giulia, from your perspective as an architect, how was the experience you made with the team of Artemide? How you would describe that?
Well, to the risk of sounding banal, fantastic. Because it was really a dialogue. To go back to what actually Carlotta said at the beginning, I mean, the fact that you're now embracing the idea of dialogues in a more structured manner, I think is what I witnessed in a non-formalized way, right? It really was a conversation of arriving with an idea and together seeing it come to life as an object was a fascinating process. I mean, as an architect, you conceive space and you imagine it, and you have your tools to construct it in 3 dimensions, and we're inhabiting one. But it was incredible to then see, you know, it's a different art, it's a different scale, it's a different technique, it's a different know-how. I'm learning on how to conceive or understand light. These are conversations that Carlotta and I keep having. Like, I realize I'm a novice on the subject. So I've learned a lot, and I think through the dialogue, this project came to life, and it was wonderful.
Dialogues. But this is fundamental, I repeat myself, in this moment of our world, of our society, of our world. So open always to dialogues.
Carlotta, a question for you. Would it be a next luminaire with Giulia?
No, you are wrong, because I don't use the word luminaire.
Okay. Tell me which could be the next project.
We are speaking about the new frontier of light.
Thank you very much.
No, and it's a secret. It is a secret.
I have learned again by
I don't
dialogue.
know. Maybe some no, so Daniele or other person knows, but I think not. It's a secret between me and Giulia, and you will discover,
Of course.
but it is a secret.
In a dialogue.
In another
course.
dialogue, the next dialogue, for sure.
For you, the audience, do you have any question to Giulia, to Carlotta? It would be now the occasion.
No question.
Giulia, Carlotta, it seems to be. Anyone is so satisfied?
Are you shy?
No. Carlotta, to make the last words to close the conversation.
The last word is,
Please.
please put some question. Are you not, do you have, which is your impression about this project? First impression, if you don't like, if you like, if it's something that is totally disrupting for you.
I have a question. I have a question.
No, stiamo vicine. Dai, ok.
Right.
Why the color of the cable?
Why the color of the cable?
Ah,
Because Antarctica is a white continent, and if you're living in Antarctica, you need to be visible, otherwise you're not safe. So while we are there, as humans, we are always dressed, or any tool is always very bright color. So whether it's orange or yeah, there you go, or red, but it has to be a vivid color for safety.
No, this is
and
important.
therefore it was for us interesting, and it also begs another question, I guess, that you might have noticed the supports. The supports also are direct reference to scientific tools in Antarctica. So the horizontal system, I think you can see it maybe here. Well, in the video somewhere, you will see there is an element which is almost like a tripod, which is referencing the tools with which these ice coring in the smaller scale are done. And in the horizontal version that you will see very soon, it really resembles the object which is used to cut the cores in Antarctica, because once they are taken in sections approximately of 50 centimeters, then they're cut in slices, and the slices are then sent to the different labs in Europe, and some withheld in storages in Antarctica in a project called Ice Memory. So all of the elements which compose this project really have a strict connection to Antarctica. So the color, as mentioned by you earlier, but also the devices upon which the object is always resting. As you will have seen, it's not integrated in a structure, but it always has its autonomy. It's always treated as an object which rests on something, which is a tool. And in this sense, then it could be in any direction, any height, and so forth.
But also,
as
at
you
the
mentioned.
end, it's a project that provides light to the humanity. Yes. So, coming from a meaning, a metaphor, an experience, everything, but at the end, I think that it's a super, super project that will light our life forever, as Artemide used to do. So, to me, thank you, and welcome on board. Grazie davvero. No, if somebody has other questions, no
Other
problem.
questions? It's an opportunity.
No, non volevo.
No. Literally, she broke the ice. So in this case, somebody can.
Can you explain a bit where the glass is from?
Present yourself first of all.
Oh, sorry. My name is Anna from Stolberg Magazine. Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Can you explain a little bit where the glass is from? I read it's recycled.
Yes. Vuoi rispondere tu? Vuoi rispondere tu o rispondo io? Okay, it's recycled glass. I mean, Artemide works with a lot of glass.
No, listen, the glass
Products?
is... Sorry.
Vai.
No, Daniele, vuoi rispondere tu sul vetro? No. So the glass is always recycled. Means that the glass starts from the ground. È vero? Confermi? Bene. The glass is always recycled. So the matter of recycling is a matter very sophisticated. I don't want to jump in this matter because it depends from materials, from the energy that you invest in this, from the possibility to recycle. So in this case, this is a perfect sustainable product because glass is always recycled and the optics are extruded and always in long-lasting, and the inner core is made by LEDs that, of course, has a long, long life lasting. So 100% come si dice? Recyclable, but can I say to you something? Artemide normally is so long lasting, then you don't need to recycle. An example is Tolomeo, that really, if you have bought a Tolomeo in 1986, that was the first year, of Tolomeo, you have still your Tolomeo there. This is our project, because the recycling is something super important, but for short life terms of objects. Our product normally are long, and maybe you take care of them. Maybe you have problem with LEDs, electronics, but the product is always there. So this is our target. We are not perfect, but 98% we don't recycle because the products are still there.
Any other questions?
No, we are proud about this. So. And you can also read the report of sustainability. Any other question?
Good evening. From Studio Light, Nigeria, Lagos. Giulia, is it an outdoor or indoor fixture? Because it's coming from the outdoors, from the wild outdoor.
Universal. There are no boundaries between outdoor and indoor. This is an old conception. We have to face and to stress our product for the humanity and deliver to any situation. Then, Giulia, please.
Anyway, it's at the moment it is indoor, but there's no boundaries with Artemide or Carlotta, as you see, and so so we don't know yet.
No boundaries, never. No, it's conceived to be both.
Yeah, it will be exactly.
Which is your idea of IP for outdoors? Because maybe in Antarctica is
just to be seen like the orange cable.
Nice.
There's another question here.
I've been asked several times during the fair how you came together, who contacted whom. I've been asked this several times and I didn't know the answer. Maybe you can answer this now.
Come ci siamo conosciute?
It's a secret.
It's a secret.
No, it's not a secret. We have in the Filicudi Island, in Filicudi Island, Ernesto and I we discovered Aeolian Island in Italy, Filicudi. Ernesto and I, before Carolina, so 86, in 86, we discovered this island and we started to stay there. And after some months, I don't know when you.
No, after some years.
After some years, Giulia discovered Filicudi, and we fell in love. It's always Filicudi. Carolina was conceived in Filicudi, so Filicudi is Filicudi, and if you don't know Filicudi, I suggest to discover Filicudi. Is true?
Yes, but don't share the secret with too many.
No, please. It's because we are few. So we met each other there, and we discovered that really we share many vision of the future, many interesting. She's an architect and so on, blah, blah, blah. And swimming and dining and walking and looking each other. She has a perfect family, children and so on. I have to recognize. sono un po' invidiosa, ma pazienza. No, Filicudi, we met in Filicudi and then we build up ideas for the future, seriously.
Okay.
Non parlo di te. No, I have to say something. Carolina, no, tiratevi su un attimo.
No, dai, poverini. Dai.
Ma che poverini? My daughter Carolina e Alessandro Gatti, they were students together at the Politecnico di Milano, and for chance Alessandro works with Giulia. So there are connection. Life is this. There are many dialogues in life, and so, as I said before, this is a starting point for designing the light together and some other things together. We don't know.
So,
Va bene come risposta? Okay.
So, Giulia, Carlotta, thank you very much for this wonderful dialogue. And the president will invite for the evening. I think so.
Will invite for evening?
Yeah,
Yes,
you.
yes. Ma you are the... No, lo fai tu, per favore. Non lo fanno le signore.
Okay,
Fa il padrone di casa.
I have the pleasure in the name of the president to invite you now to stay as long as you like and to have with us together and with Giulia a wonderful evening. Sind Sie herzlich willkommen und haben Sie mit uns einen wunderschönen Abend und verbringen Sie noch möglichst lang mit uns. Dankeschön.